Last team is the one that beat the Cardinals this last week in the Minnesota Vikings. They're 6-1 to begin the season, finding ways to win. J-Rod, before you said Minnesota is a trick, I think you meant Arizona, but if you didn't, starting off with you, my friend, these Vikings keep finding ways to win. But is this team any different?
Oh, you said me? My bad. But yeah, you're probably right. I said Minnesota was a trick. I thought I said Arizona. Okay, well, you know what I meant. You picked up on it. I think Minnesota's the treat, man. I think they're a treat. And I'm not going to fall into the Kirk Cousins primetime game thing. I'm going to put that to rest. I'm not even going to bother discussing it. And I'm just going to say the Vikings are just finding ways to win football games. And you got to respect it. You really just have to respect it. This defense was laughed at going into the year. We've said this is their weak point. Their defense has stepped up and made plays when they needed it most. They could have lost that game to the Cardinals. They could have lost to the Dolphins. They could have lost to the Bears. But nope, they're finding ways to win. Kirk Cousins isn't throwing them as much into danger. The Jet, man, he's just killing it out there on the outside. I think they have fantastic weapons. Dalvin Cook looked like Dalvin Cook on Sunday. And I feel like they're just clicking right now. I mean, preseason, me and John initially had them winning the division. And then I think we backed off because we were like, oh, it's so weird to bet against Aaron Rodgers. But they're proving this to be correct, that Minnesota is actually legit and maybe they're actually ready to take that next step.
Next step, Justin, do you mean like
They'll win the division, they'll take one from Rodgers, and maybe they can get out of the first round.
out of the first round? Well, if they win the division, they're going to be getting a home game, so that's big for them. But then again, they'll be playing in a primetime game. And I know you
Against
don't
the
want
Giants?
Yeah. You act like you have not been riding the Giants, you know what, for the past, I don't know how many weeks.
This episode is brought to you by our friends at BetStamp. When it comes to sports betting, BetStamp is changing the game. You want to maximize your return, and with the BetStamp app, all you have to do is download it and sign up on their different affiliate sportsbooks, and you can see all the best odds given straight to you in one single place. The visual tools are very helpful, and by the end of the year, you can use it for accounting. You can get all the analytics that you'll need so that you can bet like a pro. Be sure to use our referral code at WISEGUYS, WISEGUYS. Thank you to BetStamp for supporting us, and as always, back to the show.
I just really am not a believer in this team. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's because basically their last, 5 games, like Justin said, they've all been one-score games. They easily could have lost all those games. And the 2 games that have been wide margins were week 1 against Aaron Rodgers, and week 2 against the Eagles in prime time, where they got smacked up. Well, I don't know. I mean, they got the Commanders next week. I'm a big Taylor Heineke guy, but I mean, the Commanders could win that game. I'm not going to count them out. Then they got the Bills. They go to Buffalo. Oh boy. Then they play the Cowboys. I think the Cowboys are riding high. And I think that, yeah.
New England on
And
Thanksgiving.
then you get New England in a primetime game on Thanksgiving, like Justin said. I mean, I don't believe in this team I just really don't. And maybe it is probably Kirk Cousins, because I love Dalvin Cook. I think Adam Thielen is still a serviceable wide receiver. I don't know what his salary cap is, but if he's getting a lot of money, like 15 million, he's definitely not worth that anymore. Justin Jefferson obviously is one of the top 5 receivers in the NFL. This defense is starting to play a lot better than it did last season, but it's just, for me, I don't know. There's something missing for me, I think.
Sleeping. What's missing is the top end, Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady. Kirk Cousins has continuity in the system. And the difference between this year's Vikings and the Vikings the last 3 years is they're winning close games. And we always say, well, if they're winning close games, they can easily. No, when you win close games, it's a testament to great coaching. And this is where I'll give a tip of the cap to Mike Tomlin, a coach I've been very critical of. When you look at Belichick, Vrabel, Tomlin, Brian Dable in New York, they always find ways to win games. Their team step up, and most of all, they are resilient. They buy in and make big time plays. They don't get, kerfuffled about the last possession. They're going to move on and do their job. When I look at this Vikings defense, it's Darius Smith. He was the biggest X factor on this entire team, because if he stayed healthy, we're looking at one of the best edge rushers in football. If he didn't, we're looking at one of the worst defenses in the league. So far this year, through 7 games, leads the league in sacks. He's been huge because He's been healthy. You look at the secondary, Cameron Dantzler, you add in those young players, an injection, a spark to that group. And with a much improved edge rush, the defense this year has been so much more, how do I say it? It's been better to close games. And last year, whereas they would lose all these games in the fourth quarter, finding ways to not pick up a W, this year, it's a complete 180. And Kirk Cousins is comfortable with a ton of weapons. And yeah, I think the Vikings can easily win a playoff game. If they're playing at Dallas, I'm favoring them. If they're playing at Giants, I think they win. And really, if they're winning this division, there's a chance they can go back to the NFC Championship game, and that would not be crazy to say.
Nothing else to say. They definitely, you should definitely not favor them over Dallas. I don't know, but that's your prerogative, I guess.
Score update. Nick Chubb found the end zone again.
A lot to a little is the score.
Yeah, 32 to
The most impressive one was the Amari Cooper catch where he outrun both
Yeah,
freaking
that was
DBs. Like, oh
crazy.
my God.
If only I didn't play Christian McCaffrey and Kyler Murray and DJ Moore in 1 week, I probably would win my fantasy matchup.
Did DJ Moore lose a fantasy point for taking off his helmet when the game is still tied, or no?
I wish he lost a couple. He has 29 in this thing.